Alright everybody, what's up? Peter Joseph here for another video on this Saturday night, November the 11th, 2023. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like the video and subscribe right now. And happy Veterans Day to all the men and women of the armed forces. Thank you for your service and thank you for protecting America. And everywhere else too. And that's pretty much it. No big intro this time, so I don't feel like doing it. I want to get a little serious for a minute. Now, as the title below says, I want to talk about some indie wrestling, and it was an incident. I don't know when this incident happened, but there was an incident at an indie show in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, where I believe one of the female wrestlers, I don't remember her name, but she basically twerked, and that incident led to something that kind of pissed a lot of people off in the Archdiocese of New York, and pretty much is now pissing off a lot of people in the New York area and wrestling fans in the Brooklyn area and the New York area as well. Now, I went to a show the other night and found out that it is going to be the last show at that particular venue, and because of the incident that happened, and the Archdiocese is cracking down on independent wrestling at various Catholic schools and parishes and everything because of intergender wrestling and all this other BS that it shouldn't be in the churches and schools and everything. And I apologize for my language because I'm trying not to curse so much, but like I usually do because I curse like a sailor. But this really upsets me, because I've been going to independent wrestling shows in the New York area pretty much since, I guess you can call it, well, Ring of Honor, which was an indie promotion back in the day. But, you know, over the last, I'd say, almost 10 years, I've been going to indie shows here in Brooklyn and here in, well, New York area, really, that I can actually get to, because some of them are too far away from me. But I usually go to the local ones that are kind of near me, so. So anyway, it's a hard video to make, so. And I know a lot of people would kind of agree with me that independent wrestling in New York is probably the hottest it's ever been. Right now, it is hot. Everywhere you go, there's an indie show. Whether it be an actual promotion, or, you know, a upstart promotion, you know, that they have matches at a bar, or inside a bar, and they have, like, death matches at a bar, no ring, nothing, beating the crap out of each other in a bar. But most of the time, you go to an indie show, it's at like a local American Legion hall, or at a Catholic parish, or gym, or auditorium, whatever it may be. You know, and it's always a good time. A lot of people come out. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do, depending on the promotion. But really, independent wrestling in New York has been, whether it be Staten Island, Queens, Brooklyn, even the Bronx, and pretty much the 5 boroughs, has always been red hot. And a lot of people go there. These promotions that are kind of, they've been around, some have been around for 16 years. Have really showcased the men and women that love professional wrestling, and they do what they do. They don't make too much money. They train pretty much almost every week. I don't know about every day, but every week. And then they go out to the shows. They put on a great show. Barely get any money just to make it. And some of them, they have real jobs, but they do this either as a hobby or I don't know. But they're not making much money. And the problem with that is, with the whole archdiocese thing, is that the promotions rent out the building to hold these shows, which are, some of them are, like I said, Catholic schools, gyms, auditoriums, stuff like that. And the promotion has to rent out the building. They have to bring all the ring stuff in. They have to set up the gym or the auditorium so people can get in. Blah blah blah. And if they're in the gym, they have a concession stand. They gotta pay for that and the food coming in and stuff like that. And, they have to pay the building and the church or the school, they have to pay them. So, they have like 12 people, that's going to be a problem. But if they have like a big show, 250 people at most, they're doing a good job. And some promotions, are doing, have done really, really, really well with turnouts. A lot of money coming in so they can pay the wrestlers, pay the school to rent the building and everything. And then the promotions will bring in other people from like AEW, TNA. We can't call it Impact. AEW, TNA. They used to bring in people from NXT. Before they, started going up to WWE. Evolve used to come to Brooklyn a couple times. People didn't even know who the hell Drew McIntyre was, or Johnny Gargano, or even Darby Allin. All those people. Nobody knew who the hell they were. Because they didn't watch Evolve, because Evolve was an independent promotion. And Brooklyn was red hot. You wanted to see Darby, and you want to see Evolve, you want to see Darby, you want to see Drew McIntyre, and, Stokely Hathaway, Ciampa even. And all the people that are in NXT now, and AEW, some TNA, NWA. New York was like a hotbed for that. And they would come to, like, the American Legion halls, the Catholic schools and everything. And it was a great time. There would be women's matches, men's matches, some mixed tag team matches, even intergender warfare, men versus the women. Right? But then, I went to a show back, I think it was 2016-17, where there was intergender warfare, basically. That's the name of the show and everything. There was a wrestler by the name of Bonesaw Jesse Brooks who was fighting, I forgot who, and the New York State Athletic Commission, the great people that they are, decided to, nope, it's like, can't do that. Because they thought, men shouldn't fight women because it feels like a domestic dispute. It feels like domestic violence and crap like that. I think that's stupid. So they shut down the match, and they wanted to shut down the entire show. Right? So then the referee at the time of that match was the boyfriend of Jesse Brooks, and he went on a humongous tirade to the guy from the athletic commission. Humongous tirade, and yelling and screaming at him because like, oh, this is, that's not right. The fans were pissed, obviously so. And, I started a chant, F the commission, which went around the entire gym. We're like, chant, F the commission, and we still hate the New York State Athletic Commission to this very day. But, eventually the match went on, the show continued, and it was just a big misunderstanding. Now, and then over the last, I'd say 5-6 years, in Brooklyn, there's been a lot of intergender matches, even in New Jersey. But there's a difference, because it's the New Jersey State Athletic Commission. Blah, 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 blah. But, over the last few years, we've seen intergender wrestling. We've seen a lot of women's wrestling in Brooklyn, in various parts. And there was no problem with that. But now, once again, we have a problem. Just because some woman twerked in a Catholic church, well, most likely it was Catholic church, everybody, the archdiocese is up to, all pissy, oh, we can't do that. Kids are here, it's not, it's sacrilegious and stuff like that. And they want to shut down independent wrestling in New York. In Brooklyn, specifically. And I'm like, why? You didn't have a problem with this for 6 years. Now you have a problem. And you want to shut down these promotions that run and they make a lot of money? So you're basically telling me, as an independent wrestling fan and a wrestling fan for 40 years, you're telling me that this is wrong? I mean, what's your problem, Archdiocese? What is going on here? Oh, because men can't hit women. I understand your point, but I guess you don't know, you haven't seen a wrestling show. Some of you clergymen and women, you probably haven't seen a wrestling show in a while. I mean, these men and women come out to the shows and they put their bodies on the line. We all know wrestling is what it is. It's sort of entertainment, but, well, unless you're a WWE fan, you'd think it's sports entertainment, but we all know it's staged and choreographed, but people do get hurt. I mean, it's real. The injuries are real, whether you think it is or not. But these men and women come out, put on a show for 250 fans, 12 fans, whatever amount of people come to the show. And the fans love it. The fans come out to these shows. Especially, if it's in a Catholic school, a Catholic church. The kids come out. The adults come out. Well, like, people like me. We all come out and support the promotion. Because we love wrestling. And now you want to take that away from us? I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong. That's why independent wrestling has always gotten a bad name. Whatever state it is. Because you have the stupid state athletic commission saying, oh, can't do this, can't do that. Especially in New York, you can't have blood. You can't have hardcore matches. You have to go to Jersey for that. Because now, I think there's new rules with the state athletic commission. It is just ridiculous. You can't have an actual hardcore match with blood and, like, violence. Because it's in a church. God wouldn't accept this, their Archdiocese of New York. So you're basically taking away wrestling from the fans of Brooklyn, New York, and of New York, and whatever state, maybe. Doesn't have to be in New York, either. You could be in South Dakota, has a big-time wrestling promotion. They run out of a high school gym, and the high school's like, nope, can't run it anymore. You're too violent. We're getting calls and stuff like that. I'm like, really? But you want to take independent wrestling out of New York, and New York is like the wrestling capital of the world because it has the greatest fans in the world. It does. I'm not lying. You can say, oh, Chicago has great fans. Los Angeles has great fans. Boston, Philly. Well, Philly, we all know what happens with Philly. Don't want to go there, but you want to take independent wrestling out of New York just because you have a problem with somebody twerking, men and women fighting each other. For what? So you're telling me you're taking away that right to make us watch an independent promotion, and you're taking money out of the promoters and the promotion because they have to rent the building, they have to pay the wrestlers, they have to pay for the food, for the concession stands, and most of these people, they work for the Knights of Columbus and everything. They volunteer their time, even the kids that go to the school and are some members of the Knights of Columbus, they volunteer their time to help out with concessions and stuff, sweep the floor, take the chairs out, set up the barricades, stuff like that, tickets and whatever it may be. You're going to take money out of their hands because they get tips and everything? Just because you don't like intergender wrestling? Because you don't like wrestling in general? At your school? At your parish? That is some BS. That is BS. So, I come to you today, for anybody listening that's an independent wrestling fan, especially in New York, I beg you, and it's not e-begging or anything like that, I beg you to call your local church, or Catholic church, whatever church it is. Call them, get them on the horn, email them, call them, email them, smoke signals, whatever you have to do. Tell them why you love independent wrestling, why you're a wrestling fan, and why these independent promotions should stay and continue in the schools. And why women's wrestling should be in New York as well. And intergender wrestling should happen in New York. Because this is BS. This is real BS. Now, the promotions I follow, I'm never going to see again in Brooklyn. And I'm not going to go to Staten Island or Jersey to see the promotion. I have no time for that. I'd rather stay in Brooklyn because I'm from Brooklyn. I want to see local independent wrestling. And I want to see it. It doesn't matter where it is. It could be at a freaking bar. It could be at a freaking warehouse. I've been watching wrestling for 43 years, 44 years almost. Almost half my life, basically. And you're going to take that independent wrestling away from me? That's like saying, Nick Conman and Hunter, Triple H, Paul Levesque, said one day, you know what? We're going to shut down WWE. Or Tony Khan says, we're going to shut down AEW and Ring of Honor. Billy Corgan says, we're going to shut down the NWA. Which probably will be happening. American wrestling will cease to exist if that ever happened. Because of some stupidity. Or even in Japan, the great country that is Japan, or any other country that has wrestling. Mexico, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, whatever country it is. And they shut down wrestling, and everybody loves wrestling. And then, for some odd reason, all these promotions are dead. Wrestling will cease to exist. And I'm not talking about collegiate wrestling, because that doesn't count. That's not wrestling. Wrestling you see on TV, that's what I want to see. And I want to see it locally. Even if I go to New York, WWE's in town all the time. AEW has been around, mostly in Queens, not in New York City, but, and in Long Island. NWA came to Brooklyn a couple times. TNA has come to New York, in Brooklyn as well. Ring of Honor, even New Japan came to New York City, a couple shows at the Garden, at the Hammerstein. But independent wrestling, I've gone to for many, many, many years, and there's a lot of promotions that I have supported. Some of them are gone now because, not because of the whole archdiocese crap, just because, they can't run, can't run the show anymore, basically. They're not getting people to come to the shows, and the prices prices are not high to run a show out of an American Legion Hall. Like I said, you gotta pay the rent, or pay for the time there. You gotta actually get a date that the Catholic school or the American Legion Hall is open on like a Friday or Saturday night, sometimes a Thursday night, whatever night it may be. You have to pay the building fee. You have to pay for the food, because it's coming basically out of the American Legion Hall, and then people that are cooking all the food and everything. That's kind of included. And all the money that these promotions get are from hardworking men and women that go to the show, that go to these independent shows to have fun on a Friday, Saturday night. And you're gonna take that away from us, from basically the promotions and the promoters that have been, around for like 15, 16 years, some 5 years, some just started up. You want to take that away from them so they can't pay their wrestlers? So all the people that have been training, some of them are not going to make it to WWE or AEW, Ring of Honor, or even the MWA. They're just doing, what they love to do, for $20 a pop, $20 a show, and they're trying to sell their merchandise, depending on who it is. Except for the people that come in from like AEW, NWA, TNA, all the promotions, except for WWE, because they don't let them do that because they're stupid. But you're gonna take that away from those hard-working men and women and the promoters that put on these shows. That's why I titled this video, Save Independent Wrestling, because it needs to be saved here in New York City, and in Brooklyn, specifically. It needs to be saved. The Archdiocese cannot take this away from us, and take this away from the wrestlers, the promoters. The people like us, like me and you, that go to these independent shows, that have fun. All our friends go. We hang out, watch some wrestling, talk BS, and watch, up-and-comers that you might see on a future episode of NXT, or on AEW, or on Collision, or Rampage, or on NWA, or even TNA. And you want to take that away from them? So they can't make an honest living? Some of these people don't have jobs, and wrestling is their only job. So you want to take that away from them so they can go on unemployment? What am I going to do now? Wrestling was my home. This was my home for 5-6 years. You're making some decent money. And now, I gotta live in my car. I can't pay my rent and anything. Some of these wrestlers, they do this as a side job, because they have their own job. They're just getting some extra money because some of the bills might be high. I digress on that, but I just don't understand why the Archdiocese of Brooklyn and in New York in general is doing this to us. And it just goes to show you that, one, the athletic commission is a piece of crap. Two, just some people just do not like professional wrestling independent wrestling. Because they still have that word like, oh, we think this is fake. Yeah, you say that to the promoter. You say that to any of the wrestlers that work there. Watch what happens. I'm just saying. Oh, we can't have intergender wrestling. We can't have men versus the women because it feels like, it's not right. It's not morally right. Because it feels like a domestic dispute. You do know if a man faces a woman in a wrestling ring, they are not trying to hurt the other person. I mean, injuries do happen. That's not the other wrestler's fault. Sometimes, it happens. They don't do it deliberately to hurt the woman or the man. It's predetermined. The injuries happen. It just happens. And you're going to make a big case. Oh, if a man beats up a woman to the point he's like, beats the crap out of her, bloody, whatever. Oh, can't do that. No. We're not going to have you here ever again. You're going to take that away from them just because of that? That's petty and stupid. And you all should be ashamed of yourselves. You call yourselves holy people. And I'm a Catholic. I'm a Catholic Christian. And I go to these freaking parishes. And I know people in the Knights of Columbus. Some of my family was in the Knights of Columbus. And you want to take independent wrestling out of Catholic schools. Just because some woman twerked. And then you have a problem with women's wrestling. You have a problem with intergender wrestling. That is some bull you know what. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're hearing my voice, and you live in the New York area, whatever city you are from, and whatever country you're from, if this is happening to you with the independent wrestling in your area, please call your local congressman, call the schools, email them, smoke signals, whatever you gotta do, but be respectful about it. Don't be a dumbass. I'm sorry to say ass, because, I'm trying not to curse too much. But go call and email the Catholic schools, call the Archdiocese of New York and Brooklyn, and voice your displeasure, if you will. Tell them why independent wrestling needs to stay in New York and Brooklyn and Staten Island, whatever borough, Bronx, Queens, whatever. Tell them why you love professional wrestling, why you want women's wrestling to be at these shows, intergender wrestling to be at these shows. Just call, email, whatever you gotta do to save independent wrestling from ceasing to exist here in the New York area. I've done it already. I already made an email out today to the places that I go to. And I told them, hey, you got to keep the wrestling in New York. It's a hotbed. People come out, spend their hard-earned money. We want to keep the promotions in New York. And a lot of people come out. You're hurting. Basically, I said you're hurting the men and women that wrestle for these promotions. You're hurting the fans that buy a ticket. Would it be $25, $30, whatever it is? And then they pay whatever amount for food. You're hurting them. You're hurting all of us. So, my final thing I have to say, because I want to get out of here and watch Collision, because I'm a wrestling fan. But my final thing I have to say to the Archdiocese of Brooklyn and New York in general, please, this is, God wouldn't like this. You're kind of disobeying God, in a sense. because God is a wrestling fan. But in any case, please do not take independent wrestling away from us. We've been going for a lot of years, some of us. Different promotions and everything. Supporting men and women that sometimes they go up to NXT, WWE, other major promotions. Please don't take that away from them. Don't take it away from the promoters that showcase these men and women. They put on great shows. Don't take that away from them, and don't take it away from us wrestling fans. Please. So to all of you out there watching this video, please email and call your local, call the archdiocese, email them, email the Catholic schools and everything, and tell them that why you want independent wrestling at the Catholic schools, and why, you want intergender wrestling. You want wrestling in New York or whatever city you are in. But if you're in the New York area, please call them and tell them why you want professional wrestling, independent wrestling promotions to stay in New York. Because right now, I am not going to be going to any more shows unless something does happen between now and January. But if this does not get resolved, then I don't think I'm going to go to any independent wrestling shows moving forward in 2024, 25, or whatever. I'm not going to go to Staten Island. I'm not going to go to Jersey. I would, but, it's pricey and, whatever. But I'm going to still support the promotions that I support, wherever they wrestle. I mean, I would love to go there, but, and support still. But, mainly I love when they come to Brooklyn or they go into New York City. I try to go there and support the promotions, even if it's AEW or Ring of Honor, New Japan, whatever it may be. Because I love wrestling. I love going to New York City and watching a wrestling show with friends, meeting new people and everything. But it sucks right now. It really, really does suck right now that last night possibly will be my final indie show, possibly ever, or if the Archdiocese can come to some type of resolution with these promotions, to keep them at the Catholic schools and the gyms and high schools or whatever, and that we can still go to watch great professional wrestling, and if it's 10 people going there, 100, 200, 300 people, whatever amount it is, pumping money into that promotion to keep it afloat, basically. Because we don't want to see a promotion that's like 16 years old die. It's like saying, TNA, it's always want to be dead. TNA been around for 20 some odd years. Next thing you know, they pull the plug. I would hate to see that. I mean, I've seen a couple of promotions that I have, friends that used to wrestle it. I don't wrestle them anymore, really. They lost a good time, and they lost some money. Promoters that I know have lost a lot of money. And it might take a few years to actually start up a new company or bring back the company. Some of them have done that. But I'm gonna miss independent wrestling here in Brooklyn and in mainly Brooklyn and a little bit of New York City, just because of a disagreement with the Archdiocese. So once again, please email them, please call them, and tell them why you want to keep the promotion in these schools and parishes and gyms and whatever it is. Keep independent wrestling in Brooklyn and in New York, or in your local area. And that's pretty much it. So that's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and just do your part. If you're in the New York area, please do your part. because we can't lose independent wrestling in New York. It is a hotbed right now. It is hot. Independent wrestling is hot right now in New York right now. And specifically the Brooklyn, Staten Island, Long Island area. Create a Pro, Wrestle Pro, whatever promotion it may be, in the Bronx as well. Staten Island, like I said. Independent wrestling is red hot right now, and we can't lose it. Just because of the Archdiocese or the State Athletic Commission, whatever it might be. We can't lose it, because we're going to lose out on a good time. So please, do your part. Make a video, email them, call them, go to the goddamn place and, tell them, respectfully, like I said, respectfully, do not just come out and say, oh, you guys are, don't yell at them and everything, because now they're going to like, well, this guy said this, and this guy said that. Well, no, we're not going to have them anymore, because this guy said that. Just be respectful and say why you want independent wrestling, intergender wrestling, to be at these parishes and schools and gyms or whatever it may be. Just be respectful, and hopefully, with enough people, because there's going to be a lot of people in Brooklyn, and from wherever they come from to go to these shows, there's going to be a lot of people. They're going to get a lot of emails, a lot of calls. I probably assume that some people might even go to the schools and everything, say, hey, what's going on here? We want wrestling here in Brooklyn. We want wrestling here in New York City. Please hear us out, at least. But hopefully, as we go into 2024, independent wrestling will stay in Brooklyn and in New York City, and in Long Island, and wherever it may be, in the New York area. But it was a sad night last night, It was a great show and everything, but, it was bittersweet going home with my friends, possibly be the last time I see some of them. Some of them I might see the other shows, but whether it be WWE or AEW show, they come to New York City, Ring of Honor, stuff like that, New Japan, NWA. Some of them I may not see again. I mean, we always got social media, but still, seeing each other face to face at an indie show, we have a great time. We BS and everything, outside of the building, inside the building, whatever it may be. But having that taken away from us is like losing a family member, losing a pet. It hurts. It's gonna hurt for a long time. But hopefully it's not a long-term thing, and hopefully we get independent wrestling to stay at the parishes and high school gyms or whatever they run out of, and we can continue to go to wrestling shows, support the promotions, and all that stuff. And that's really much it. So that's all I gotta say about that. So I'm still gonna support independent wrestling and wrestling in general. The promotions that I've known here in Brooklyn, I'm still gonna support them, no matter what. One promotion is celebrating their 60th anniversary pretty soon, and hopefully they go to 17 years, 18, 19, 20 years. Whether they run out of Staten Island, they run out of Long Island, wherever they go. I'm still going to support them. If they ever come back to Brooklyn, I will be right there. Maybe front row, maybe general admission. Whatever it is, I'm going to support the company. Give them my hard-earned money. And that's pretty much it. So, that's all I got to say. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. And, yeah, if you, like I said, one more time. If you're in the New York area, if you live in Brooklyn, I have a lot of friends that live in Brooklyn, please go call the Archdiocese, call the schools, tell them to keep independent wrestling at these places. Because they're taking basically everything away from us right now, and it's not right. Not right for us, not right for the wrestlers, the men and women there, the promoters, the people from the Knights of Columbus that come out and volunteer and everything, the people from the school that volunteer, the kids and everything. You're taking that all away from us, and we will not stand for that. So please, do the right thing and keep it the way it has been for the last few years. You know, have a heart, because God will not be happy with that. Have a heart, please. The Archdiocese of Brooklyn and New York, and in New York City. Have a heart. Save independent wrestling. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I gotta go, because I'm about to lose it. Thanks for watching. Peace. God bless.